Connor McDavid has a superpower. And no, I'm not talking about his ability to make NHL defensemen look like they're skating in quicksand, although that's impressive. No, McDavid's unique ability is much more powerful than that, and he's used it to rewrite what we thought was possible at the Olympics. It's one thing to have the blend of talent and speed it requires to be an NHL superstar, but to completely transcend the game itself is a whole other beast. A transcendent player doesn't just dominate, they operate on a different plane entirely, seeing plays before they develop, controlling outcomes before they unfold. What if I told you that every goal Canada has scored, every perfect pass McDavid has threaded, every defensive breakdown he's created was already predetermined before the puck even touched his stick, because the decision the defense was about to make was already set in motion, and it was decided by him. Because Connor McDavid is always 2 plays ahead. Connor McDavid is having one of the greatest individual Olympic performances in hockey history, 9 points in his first 3 games, a point every single period. The most points a Canadian NHL player has ever recorded in a single Olympic tournament, and he's not even close to finished. His individual dominance speaks for itself, and he is easily the most impactful player at these Olympics. But there's something different about McDavid compared to his peers. His dominance cannot be attributed to outlier athleticism alone, though he certainly has that. He's not just the fastest or the most skilled, though he might be both. But the competitive advantage he has is in between the ears. Of course, he still possesses ridiculous levels of talent, his vision, his hands, his hockey IQ, but his edge comes down to him being a hockey prophet. His ability to map the ice surface and read defensive formations allows him to maintain an almost supernatural grip on every shift he plays. When McDavid is on the ice, he is in complete control. McDavid said it best through his play, "He's not just part of Canada's system, he is the system." The art of manipulation McDavid is one of the few players who bends defenses with patience, not just speed. He'll carry the puck into the zone, wait for a defender to commit, and that's when the magic happens. Insane passes through traffic, perfectly placed feeds to teammates who haven't even finished their routes yet, and cross-ice bullets to shooters in spots only he could see. What makes McDavid special at these Olympics is manipulation. He reads defenders like a chess grandmaster reads the board. He knows who's going to overcommit, who's late on rotations, and who's about to make the wrong decision. Every move is a setup, and every hesitation is bait. Put elite players next to him, and he manufactures video game offenses. Put a player like Celebrini next to him, and suddenly that 19-year-old is scoring goals that will be replayed for decades for Team Canada. McKinnon, Crosby, Reinhart, their easiest touches are coming off McDavid's brilliant timing and supernatural vision. His playmaking works because he understands hockey gravity better than anyone at this tournament. Defenses don't just guard him, they orbit him. 2 defenders on him feels normal, 3 isn't rare, and McDavid knows exactly how much attention he's pulling before the trap even arrives. He does this by weaponizing pace. He'll enter the zone, lull everyone into a rhythm with his control, and then hit a sudden burst that forces an entire defensive structure to collapse. Once that happens, the play is already over. Someone is open, and McDavid just has to decide who's going to score. Standing among giants. To understand just how historic McDavid's Olympic run is, you have to compare it to the legends who came before him, the Canadian greats who defined Olympic hockey for generations. Wayne Gretzky holds the all-time Canadian best-on-best scoring record with 48 points across multiple tournaments. But in 1998 at Nagano, the great one managed just 4 assists in 6 games. Respectable, but not dominant. Mario Lemieux built his Olympic legend on moments. The iconic 1987 Canada Cup winner, captaining the 2002 Salt Lake City team to gold with 6 points in 5 games. Clutch performances, but McDavid has already surpassed that point total in just 3 group stage games. Sidney Crosby's Olympic legacy is built on pure mythology. The golden goal in 2010, captaining a perfect 6-0 run in 2014. But Crosby's single Olympics point totals? 7 points in 2010, 3 points in 2014. McDavid is already outpacing both of Crosby's Olympic tournaments combined. Here's what makes McDavid's run so unprecedented. He's combining Gretzky's volume scoring, Lemieux's game-breaking ability, and Crosby's clutch gene all in one tournament. 9 points in 3 games puts him on pace for something we've never seen before from a Canadian player. But it's not just the numbers, it's how he's getting them. Gretzky was a master of finding space, Lemieux was unstoppable in big moments, Crosby was the ultimate competitor. McDavid, he's all 3. But with a speed and vision that none of them possessed. The scary part is that all of Canada's Olympic legends made their mark in the medal rounds. Gretzky in 87, Lemieux in 2002, Crosby in 10. McDavid hasn't even reached the knockout games yet, and he's already rewriting the record books. The numbers don't lie. And his impact isn't just flashy for the sake of it, it's surgical. His passes aren't just for highlight reels, they're for misdirection, for creating advantages that didn't exist a second before. He knows exactly where everyone is on the ice, and more importantly, where everyone is about to be. The numbers back it up. McDavid didn't just rack up 9 points by accident, he's leading the entire tournament because entire offensive systems are being built around his reads. Different teammates, same result. Easy goals, efficient chances, and historically dominant performances. Against Czechia, 3 assists in a 5-0 win, completely controlling the pace of the game. Against Switzerland, multiple points again as he dissected their defensive structure. Against France, a goal and 2 assists in a 10-2 demolition where he looked like he was playing a different sport entirely. But here's what makes this run historically significant. He's the only player in the tournament's top 6 in multiple offensive categories. Not Luka Doncic, not Giannis, not even Jokic when they faced off head-to-head. Just McDavid. That's not normal. That's not even close to normal for a tournament featuring the best players in the world. The decade-long setup. But McDavid's Olympic dominance didn't happen overnight. This has been building for a decade. 2018 and 2022, the NHL skips the Olympics, leaving McDavid watching from home while his prime years tick away. He's been vocal about that frustration, repeatedly saying, "I just want to win a gold medal. That's the only thing that matters." Most people heard that as typical athlete speak. McDavid meant every word. The Four Nations face-off became his proof of concept. Canada wins, McDavid shows he can dominate best-on-best competition, but it's still not the Olympics. It's still not the stage he's been obsessing over, and then Milano Cortina finally arrives. NHL players return for the first time in 12 years. McDavid gets his moment, but here's where McDavid's 2 steps ahead mentality really shows. While other players were adjusting to Olympic ice, adjusting to new teammates, adjusting to the pressure, McDavid had already mapped out exactly how this would unfold. He knew that with elite talent around him, Crosby, McKinnon, Maker, he wouldn't have to carry the entire offensive load like he does in Edmonton. He could focus purely on orchestrating, on being the conductor of the most talented hockey orchestra ever assembled. The weight of prophecy. The pressure McDavid is carrying would crush most players. This isn't just about individual success, it's about fulfilling a decade-long promise to himself and an entire nation. For Edmonton, the narrative has always been about wasted potential, about whether the team around him is good enough. For Canada, the story is completely different. If you don't win gold with this roster, it's a national catastrophe. The media openly calls this his Gretzky Lemieux Crosby moment, one Olympic run that could define his place in hockey mythology forever. Think about that burden. You're not just trying to win, you're trying to validate a decade of waiting, a decade of saying, this is what you want most. You're trying to prove that all those years of watching other players compete for Olympic gold while you sat at home were worth it. Most players would be paralyzed by that expectation. McDavid has turned it into fuel. Watch his interviews after dominant performances. He's not celebrating his point totals. He's not talking about breaking records. I just want to win a gold medal. That's the only thing that matters. The same words he's been saying for years, but now with the weight of actually being able to deliver on them. That's not just championship DNA. That's the mentality of someone who has been visualizing this exact moment for years, who's been 2 steps ahead of everyone else in understanding what this opportunity would mean. The inevitable future. McDavid's Olympic dominance raises uncomfortable questions about the rest of his career. If this is what he looks like with elite talent around him, what does that say about what he's been working with in Edmonton? This isn't McDavid playing better than usual. This is McDavid finally being unleashed in the exact environment his game was designed for. Best-on-best competition, elite teammates who can finish the plays he creates, a system built entirely around maximizing his unique abilities. The scary part? This might just be the beginning. The knockout rounds are where legends are made, where individual brilliance can carry entire nations to glory, and McDavid has already proven he can perform under the ultimate pressure against the ultimate competition. But there's something else happening here, something that goes beyond just this tournament. McDavid is showing the hockey world what's possible when you give a generational talent the perfect supporting cast. He's creating a blueprint for how the game should be played at its highest level. A career of reading defenses and anticipating plays has empowered McDavid to recognize exactly when to impose his will to create the outcome he desires. He's not just reacting to what's happening on the ice, he's controlling what happens next. McDavid is staring down this Olympic tournament and predicting every move because while he can't control his opponents, he can control his response to them. And his response has been nothing short of prophetic. Time will tell if this strategy leads to Olympic gold, but at least for now, McDavid has positioned himself as the most dominant player at the most important hockey tournament in over a decade. What happens next in these Olympics is a mystery to everyone but him, and I'm sure he's already formulating his plan plan for the gold medal game. Because like a true hockey savant, Connor McDavid is always 2 plays ahead. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see how this Olympic masterpiece unfolds, and drop a comment. Is this the greatest individual Olympic performance you've ever seen, or is McDavid just getting started?